The Jets are linked to DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Evans. I don't want him. I do not want DeAndre Hopkins, especially when he came out and gave a mention of 5 quarterbacks he would love to play with. Lamar Jackson, that's not happening because they have Odell Beckham. Josh Allen, that's not going to happen because Stephon Diggs wants to see the ball more than anybody and everybody. Patrick Mahomes, they won a Super Bowl. They didn't even have half their wide receivers. They traded for a wide receiver at the trade deadline with the Giants last year.
Oh, thank you.
So that's not going to happen. Jalen Hurts, they made a trade last year in the first round of draft, added A.J. Brown. Do you really believe that Jalen Hurts, and I would call them the Philadelphia Bulldogs, need a guy like DeAndre Hopkins? The answer is no. It makes sense that the Chargers could be the lead team to get him, but I don't know if he's going there either.
Yeah, they also have 2 big-bodied receivers on that team already, and Hopkins, who's older. Arizona kind of uses him as just the big-bodied red zone threat. The Jets already have enough tight ends. They already have Corey Davis,
They
who's
do
probably going to
not
keep.
need him. They do not need Mike Evans. And what are they going to give up for Mike Evans? Mike Evans, you're going to have to trade at least a second-round draft pick for him because they don't have a first next year because Aaron Rodgers is going to play at least 65% of the snaps. So are they willing to give up a second-round draft pick for a guy like Mike Evans? No. And you have to pay him. You haven't even paid Quinnen Williams. So why would you take on another contract and have to overpay for a wide receiver, which you do not need? It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. If the Jets do this, they look like a foolish team.
Mike Evans' cap hit this year alone is $23.6
It doesn't make sense.
So that's what you should be paying Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams will get a little more than that, obviously, but that's going to be a huge majority, 80-90% of what you're going to have to pay Quinnen Williams spent on a wide receiver that had a down year for his standards.
Why would the Jets do this? They have to pay Quinnen Williams over $25 million. Does this make any sense? You have Aaron Rodgers, which you're going to have to pay him $59 million that you owe him, and he's probably going to take less this year and probably spread it out for 3 years, which will probably not be a part of the organization, which spreads out 2 or 3 years down the road. And then they got to pay their big superstar defensive lineman in Quinnen Williams. This is not happening, guys. And anybody that's going to sit here and say, we need a guy like Mike Evans or we need a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, you guys are out of your damn minds. The Jets do not need him. The Giants could use him. I think the Giants could use Mike Evans. They can use DeAndre Hopkins. Are they going to be willing to do that? The Giants don't have the money to do it. How does anybody believe the Jets have the money to do it?
I would do it at a reduced price, at a reduced value.
I would go after Mike Evans. If
Yeah.
they had a chance to get Mike Evans for a second rounder, I would do it in a heartbeat.
See, the problem is I think the Giants are not in that predicament either where they could afford to give second-round picks. Because we've seen a lot of also older skill players last year really fall off. We've seen a lot of running backs, like you were saying, in trade rumors already this offseason. Austin Eckler, it looks like he's going to be able to stay with the Chargers, but some of these other ones, maybe not. Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, these guys are not staying with them. And same thing with the wide receivers. So many of them had bad years last year, including Mike Evans. Am I going to trade a second-round pick for that? I don't know if I would do that. Maybe if the value gets lower and the Bucs can't trade him, but it doesn't make a lot of sense right now where the Giants are.
Well, Brian Dable says he won't talk contracts with Saquon Barkley. So what does this spell for the Giants now? What it spells to me, it says that they need to trade him, because they need to get whatever they can back for Saquon Barkley right now, because you don't know if he's going to get hurt this year, and then he becomes a free agent next year. And you're not franchising him. You're definitely not, because you're franchising him now. So there's no way they're going to franchise him and pay him $20 million next year. That's not happening, guys. So Saquon Barkley goes, and he goes wherever he wants next year, and you get nothing for him. So if you can't sign him now, then you decide, hey, maybe we trade him to Tampa. They need a running back. Maybe we trade Saquon to Tampa for Mike Evans. I think that's a fair deal. 1 for 1. If you're willing to pay the younger wide receiver, then you pay the wide receiver. They need to do something and get something for him, because sitting here and waiting on what this team and Joe Shane is going to do at the running back position makes no sense. There's still quite a few good running backs that are available right now. Zeke could be a guy you can pay $5-6 million. He knows the division. Maybe the Giants bring him in. He's not Saquon Barkley, but he'll still give you about 900 to 1,000 yards. He'll clean up what you need to clean up at that position. It's a fill-in position, and that's all you're filling in. You're filling in a guy that'll be there for a year, and then you draft a guy. Or you decide to go after Kareem Hunt or somebody of that magnitude. You need to do something, because you have a disgruntled player like Saquon Barkley that deserves the money. He absolutely deserves it. The Giants have not paid him a contract since his rookie deal, and that's not fair to Saquon Barkley. This guy is deserving after the season that he had last year. So what I would do is I would ask Saquon, give me your top 3 teams you want to go to, and then you start to balance out what you can get from those teams, either draft picks or maybe you trade him for a guy, and you're trading a contract for a contract.